Okay, guys, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Yes, okay. Thank you. Let's wait a couple of minutes and we'll start, okay?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, I think we can start. Let me first call the attendance, okay, guys? As soon as you hear your name, please answer present, okay? Let's go. Can you hear me, guys?
Yes, teacher, we can hear.
Okay, thank you. Okay, this course is October the 12th, I think. So, start with this. It's here. Okay, let me call the attendance then. Is Álvarez Orias Genaro Mauricio here?
Sí.
Okay. What about Arce Alave Ángela María?
Present.
Okay, Caicina Acho Mario.
I'm here, teacher.
Crobo Machicao Mariana.
Present, teacher.
Dinaceli Torres Rubén.
Present, teacher.
Obando Pérez, no, Orias Karima Cristian Adrián.
Present, teacher.
Okay. Obando Pérez Carla. Okay, she's not here. And finally, Vargas Ramos Amilcar Reinaldo. Okay, he's not here either. Okay, we can start. Today we're going to practice with some listening exercises, right? As you may have seen yesterday, I think you covered the listening section of the TOEFL test with teacher Andre, right? Only the ones who attend the class. So today we're going to practice with those kind of exercises. Okay, guys, let me share my screen first. And now I need you to tell me, what is the listening section of the TOEFL test about? Can anybody tell me? Guys, are you here? Are you there? Can you hear me? Guys, are you there? Can you hear me? Because nobody answers.
Yes, teacher, I can hear you.
Okay, what about the rest?
Yes, teacher, we are here.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so I asked, can anybody tell me what the listening section of the TOEFL test is about? What does it include? What does it involve? No one? Did you attend yesterday's class? Guys, I am asking you, did you attend yesterday's class? Okay, I think.
We can listen in an interview or an conversation, teacher, and we have questions to ask.
Okay, that's it. Okay, well, the listening section will contain at least two kind of exercises. Okay, first one, which is about listening to class discussion or a conversation in an academic environment, such as, I don't know, a college, school, and university. Okay, and the second task is about listening to a lecture in an academic class. So we're going to cover both of them today. Let's start with this kind of exercise. Okay, listening one. Can anybody hear? Can anybody help me reading this? Listening one.
Teacher, can I read?
Okay, thank you.
Okay, what is about? Conversations, problem, suggestions, solutions, details, notes, lectures, topic, organization, detailed information, notes, and implications, logic.
Okay, thank you. So, as I told you, the listening section of the TOEFL test will include two kind of exercises, okay? The first one is about listening to conversations, okay? In this part, you have to focus on what the problem is, the suggestions or the solutions that you can hear, and finally, some details, okay? In this case, you have to take some notes while you listen, okay? So it is important. You have to focus on these three aspects when listening to the conversations, okay? Now, what about the lectures? This is more difficult, let's say, but it is not impossible, okay? In this kind of lectures, you have to be focusing on mainly on the topic. What is the lecture about? The organization. How is the professor organizing the lecture, okay? An introduction, some arguments, and a conclusion. You have to take notes on the organization of the lecture, okay? Maybe the professor starts by providing some examples and then providing the introduction of the topic. You have to be careful with that, okay? Finally, detailed information and implication. You have to take notes on this. The notes that you may take are really important here, okay? You have to take notes, you have to listen carefully, and only write keywords, okay? Finally, the logic. You have to use the logic that you have in your mind so that you can imply what is the lecture is about, okay? What the lecture is about, sorry. So those are the kind of questions you're going to encounter when dealing with the TOEFL tests, okay? In the listening section, especially. So let's move on to some suggestions, okay? These are my suggestions for you at the moment of listening. First, focus on what you listen and not on what is around, okay? You just have to be focused on what you listened. That's it. What is around doesn't matter, okay? What else? You have to pay attention to the keywords so that you can write your notes, okay? Keywords are really important. Finally, you have to imply from context. Sometimes it is really difficult for us to understand what is being listened or what is being written, right? So in that case, we have to imply, okay? We can use the context of what we are listening or what we're reading in order to imply what is it about. So it is important, okay, to take into account the context. That's it. Okay, guys, that's the idea. Those are my suggestions for you. Now let's move on. How to take notes. So it is important to keep details from the reading. How to do that? By taking notes. You have to pay attention to only keywords, okay? Only the keywords. Try to write only short sentences, okay? Do not write too long sentences. You're going to waste your time, okay? So try to write short sentences only. Finally, the organization of ideas. You have to organize your notes, okay? In a way that you can understand after you hear or after you listen to the recording, okay? So organization of ideas when writing your notes is really important, okay, guys? Now, let's practice, okay? It is time for you to practice. These are practice sessions, so we're going to practice. Please have at hand a piece of paper, so that you can write your notes. We're going to listen to this recording first, and then we're going to answer some questions. Okay, guys, are you ready?
Yes,
Yes, teacher.
Okay, so let's go there then. Have at hand a piece of paper and a pen so that you can write notes, okay? Your notes are really important, so consider that. Okay, guys, please let me know if you can hear, okay?
Now listen to a conversation between a student and a professor.
Can you hear, guys?
Yes, we can hear.
What about the rest?
Yes, teacher.
I
yes,
can hear, teacher.
teacher.
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to start then, okay? We're going to listen first. Take notes, okay? If anything happens, if you have any problem and you have any question, maybe a problem connection, the internet, I don't know. Please let me know, okay? You can write in the chat box. I will be paying attention to that, okay? So let's start, please. Take notes.
Now listen to a conversation between a student and a professor.
Hi, Professor. Do you mind if I talk to you for a minute?
Sure, Carla. What's going on?
Well, as you know, this has been a really difficult class for me, and I'm really nervous about the final coming up. I'm scared I'm going to fail this class, but I have to pass, or I'll have to take an extra class next semester, and I know that would be difficult. I was wondering if you could help me prepare or figure out a way to at least make sure I'll pass.
Yes, I've noticed this class hasn't been easy for you. I'm glad you came to me because the last thing I want is for any of my students to fail the course. What have you been doing to prepare for the final?
Well, I'm studying in the library whenever I can, but I feel like I just don't understand the information. I'm only taking this intro to biology class because I need to fulfill my science requirement. I'm a French major, and science just doesn't make sense to me. I'm really scared I'm not going to do well on the final. Is there any way I could do some extra credit to help my grade?
I'm sorry, Carla, but there will be no opportunities for extra credit. If I let you do something, I would have to let everyone in the class do it.
Oh, okay, well, I understand, I guess.
Why don't you see if you can study with some other students in the class? I'm sure Martin or Sarah would be willing to help you. They seem to have an excellent grasp on the material.
I could. I kind of feel bad asking. I know Sarah is in the student government and Martin is on the soccer team, so I feel like they're both really busy.
Well, if you don't feel comfortable working with them, you could always go to the student center and have them help you find a tutor. You would have to pay, but it's really cheap since there are student tutors and subsidized by the school.
I guess I could do that. I really can't afford to fail this class, so I think I'm going to have to invest in a tutor.
I know many students who have done well after working with one of the student tutors. If you decide to go that route, I'm sure you will benefit as well.
I hope so. Thanks, Professor.
Of course, Carla. Good luck.
Now, answer the questions. 1. What problem?
Okay, guys, now time to see the questions. Okay, are you ready? Did you take notes? Guys, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yes, teacher. I can.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, now time to answer the questions, okay? I will read the questions for you. Number 1 and 2. You will have 30 seconds to answer each one, okay? Number 1. What problem is the student having? Number 2. Why does Carla mention that Sarah is in a student government and Martin is on the soccer team? Please, 30 seconds for each question. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next questions, okay? So be ready. I'm gonna read them for you, okay? Number 3, question number 3. Why does the student say that she is taking this class? Number 4, what does the professor suggest Carla do? Select 2. In this question, you can select 2 options. Number 5, what is the professor implying when he says that Martin and Sarah have an excellent grasp on the material? 30 seconds for each question. Go on, please. Okay, guys, time's up. Let's move on to the next questions, okay? Okay, were only all the questions, okay, guys? So, what are your answers, guys? Can you share your answers in the chat box of Zoom, please? Only one message, okay? If it is possible. Can you hear me, guys? Are my instructions clear? Guys, are you there? Okay, thank you, Amilcar. Now we're going to see the answers, okay? So be ready to check your answers. I am still waiting for the rest to send their answers, so please do it. Guys, can you hear me? Because I do not receive any response from you.
Yes, we can hear you.
I write my answer.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Genaro, thank you. Okay, only 2 people have written. Okay, Mariana, thank you. Genaro, Mamilka. Okay, 3 people. We are 7 in this class. So I am still waiting for the responses, please, so that we can start checking the answers. I'm gonna give you 2 minutes, okay? And then we're going to start checking the answers. Please. Okay. Angela, Ruben, thank you. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5 people have already sent their answers, but 2 are missing. Please, those people send your answers, please. Okay, 30 seconds to start checking the answers. Okay, guys? Okay, time to check the answers. Okay, guys? I need you to help me reading the answer key, okay? Because here we have some explanations, okay? So can you see the screen, guys? I need you to answer.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, in this session, you are not forced to speak, but in the future, we will have speaking sessions to practice speaking. So it would be a good idea to start speaking, okay, guys? Now, passage number 1, answer key. The answer was letter C. Let's see. Okay. Okay, Genaro did a good job. Good. What else? Who else? Okay, Ruben also did a good job in this question. Okay. Why is letter C the answer? Let's see. Letter C. You had to focus on the problem in this question. Okay. What is the problem? Let's read a fragment of the listening section. Well, as you know, this has been a really difficult class for me. I am really nervous about the final coming up. I am scared that I am going to fail this class, but I have to pass, or I'll have to take an extra class next semester, and I know that would be so difficult. So, considering that, letter C was the answer. Okay, guys? What about number 2? Letter B. Who did a good job in this case? Okay. Amilcar, good job. Genaro, good job as well. Mariana, okay. You need to practice a little bit more. And Angela and Ruben, okay. Angela did a good job in this case. Okay, guys. So, for the ones who answered this with another letter, different from letter B. Possible solution. Okay. Can anybody help me reading the explanation or the fragment that explains the answer? Or do you want me to choose? Okay, I'm gonna choose in that case. Let's see. Cristian Orias, are you there? Okay, I think he's not there. Amilcar, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Okay, please. Can you read the fragment of the listening recording?
Number 2, yes.
Yes.
Why don't you see if you can study with some other students in the class? I'm sure Martin and Sarah would be willing to help you. They seem to have an excellent grasp on the material. I could. I kind of feel bad asking. I know Sarah is in student government and Martin is on the soccer team, so I feel like they are both really busy.
Okay. In that section, the answer was located, okay? So what were the possible options? The question was, why does Carla mention that Sarah is in student government and Martin is on the soccer team? Why? To emphasize that they are busy and may not have time to help her study. So that was the answer to this question. Let's move on to number 3. In this case, you were supposed to find some details from the recording. The answer was letter A. Let's see. Okay. Oops. I think everybody need to practice this. Okay, in this part, you were supposed to find some details, okay, from the recording. What was the question? Let's see. Number 3. Why does the student say she's taking this class? To fulfill a liberal arts requirement, to challenge herself, so she can decide if she wants to major in science. She didn't know it would be so difficult. Those are the options. Let's see. Please, I want another person to help me reading this. Genaro, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Can you read the fragment
Yes.
of the recording?
The answer is said explicitly in the conversation. I'm the only taking this intro to biology class because I need to fulfill my science requirement. I am French major and science just doesn't make sense to me.
Okay, so I think the answer was there. What was the answer? Letter A in this case. Let's go. To fulfill a liberal arts requirement. That was the answer, okay, guys? You need to practice a little bit more with this. Let's move on to number 4. In these questions, you were supposed to choose 2 options. The answers were letter A and B. Let's see the answers and the question. What does the professor suggest Carla do? You can select 2 of the options. Ask other students for help, find a tutor, study more in the library, do an extra credit assignment. Let's read, okay? Number 4, please, I want Mariana, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Please, can you read the fragment that contains the answer?
Yeah, of course. Why don't you see if you can study with some other students in the class? I'm sure Martin or Sarah will be willing to help you. They seem to have an excellent grasp on the material. I kind of feel bad asking. I know Sarah is in student government and Martin is on the soccer team. So I feel like they are both really busy. Well, if you don't feel comfortable working with them, you could always go to the student center and have them find you a tutor. You will have to pay, but it's really cheap since they are student tutors and subsidized by the school.
Okay, so what were the answers? What did you write? Number 4 was A and B, okay. Want to? Okay, Mariana, you were supposed to choose 2 options in this question. Okay, good job, Genaro. Amilcar, okay? But C was not the answer. Be careful with that, okay? So, according to what you listened and what Mariana has read, what were the answers for this question, guys? Tell me. What options? What letter?
A and B.
That's it. The professors suggest Carla that she ask other students for help or find a tutor. That's it, okay? So let's move on to the last question. Let's see. In this question, you were supposed to pay attention to detail. The answer was letter C. Let's see the question, okay? Number 5, what about? What is the professor implying when he says that Martin and Sarah have an excellent grasp on the material? The options are, they have a strong grasp on their textbooks, they understand the material well, they will be good tutors for Carla, they are the best students in the class. The answer was letter C. Why? Okay, I'm gonna read it for you this time, okay? The why is C the option, the answer, okay? Although it is true the professor is telling Carla that Marty and Sarah understand the material well, the point he's trying to make is that they will be good tutors for Carla or good people to ask for help with studying. Let's see the fragment. Why don't you see if you can study with some other students in the class? I'm sure Marty or Sarah would be willing to help you. They seem to have an excellent grasp of the material. So, to have an excellent grasp, what does it mean? To understand the material, okay? So, vocabulary is really important as well in this section of the test. Okay, so letter C was the best option in this case, okay, guys? Okay, Angela did a good job here. Okay, okay, Milka, good job. Okay, guys. So this was just a practice. You need to practice a little bit more with this, okay? But I hope that with these answers and with this practice, you're going to improve, okay, guys? Now, we're going to practice with another exercise regarding the lecture, okay? So I hope everybody's ready. Is there any question, guys? Any doubt, any problem that you may have? Tell me now. I'm waiting. Guys, are you there?
Yes, teacher.
Teacher, I have a question.
Tell me.
How long is the audio? How long is the real question in the TOEFL test?
You mean how much time you're going to have?
Sí.
Okay. You will have, I think, 5 minutes to listen to the recording. It also depends on the length of the recording, right? But 5 minutes is more than enough. And then you will have some extra time to answer the questions, okay? That's why you have to take notes, okay? Only by listening, you won't be able to answer the questions. You need to take notes. So for this kind of exercise, I would suggest that please focus on or pay attention to the following aspects, okay? These ones. The problem, the solutions, and some details, okay? These 3 aspects are going to be included in the questions. So if you know what the problem is, if you know what the suggestions are or the solutions, and if you take notes on the details, I'm sure you will be able to answer these questions the best way possible and with the best score. Okay, guys?
Okay, teacher.
Okay, now we're going to practice with a lecture now, okay? So please, what do you have to consider in the lecture? Please, the topic. What is the topic? the organization of the professor, okay? What does he do or she do at the end, at the beginning, in the middle, and at the end? Consider that, okay? And also information. Some details are important as well, okay? So you have to take notes. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, it is.
Clear.
Yes, it is.
Okay, so try to pay attention to those aspects, okay? Let's start, please. You have to take notes as well.
Listen to part of a lecture and
Can you hear, guys? I need to make sure that you hear.
Yes, I can hear.
Yes, I can too.
Okay, thank you. Let's start.
listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class. We all know that the field of abnormal psychology studies behavior, well, types of behavior that are considered to be abnormal. I mean, it's exactly what the name of the field suggests. But how exactly do we define what constitutes abnormal behavior? While extreme cases of abnormal psychology are, well, relatively easy to discern, sometimes the line between normal and abnormal behavior can be hard to draw.
I can understand why it's not so clear-cut. There's a big danger of bias entering into the definition, right? I mean, there's a lot of subjectivity involved in coming up with definitions like this. Like, if I consider myself to be a normal person, it seems natural for me to measure everyone else according to my own standards of what's normal.
That's a great example, Tricia. It really is a tricky process. The first thing to understand is that certain behaviors can be interpreted as normal or abnormal, depending on the context in which they're carried out. And cultural or historical factors can also play an important role in shaping our views of normal and abnormal behavior too. In some societies, for example, it was common for people to mutilate themselves in grief, but now that would be considered self-destructive behavior and grounds for a visit to the psychologist. So how do doctors overcome all of this subjectivity and cultural relativism when they make a diagnosis? I was just getting to that. In psychology, abnormal behavior is often defined through a study of how useful that behavior is to the individual. That is, if the behavior distresses the individual, and if he or she has trouble reaching his personal goals, or if he can't maintain meaningful relationships, well, in those situations, then there's very good reason for the individual to seek professional help. But all of this isn't very helpful to people who have trouble seeing their own struggles. People who have depression, for example, have trouble seeing their circumstances from different perspectives. And people who suffer from schizophrenia can truly believe in their auditory hallucinations. So abnormal behavior can basically be defined as the symptom of a mental illness? Well, abnormal behavior can sometimes be medically diagnosed as the symptom of a mental illness, but not in all cases.
Can abnormality possibly be defined through, well, we read about the statistical approach in the textbook. It compares behavior across groups in terms of how common and uncommon the behavior is.
Again, you bring up a very good point, Tricia. The statistical method of separating normal from abnormal behavior is most commonly applied to people who have learning disabilities, otherwise known as mental handicaps. If an individual's IQ is in the lowest 2.5% of the population, he or she is viewed as learning disabled. But can anyone think of why this statistical approach might face difficulties?
Well, what about people with an IQ in the top 2.5%? They're also statistically uncommon, but their behaviors or qualities aren't looked upon as abnormal in the same sense that the lower IQ scores are viewed. Also, couldn't you say that the distressing behavior seen in people with depression or anxiety, that it's so statistically common that depression and anxiety could also be defined as normal? I think that the statistical view runs into a lot of problems. Instead, we should define abnormality by what the majority of people think is abnormal. I mean, we should go by social norms.
But defining abnormal behavior in regards to social norms also poses several problems. If we define abnormal behavior as anything that doesn't conform to the majority, acts of deviation can be looked upon as abnormal. The dominant social and moral attitudes of the individual's society would play a major role in deciding whether they were mentally ill or well.
But Is it possible to specify what counts as abnormal behavior just by comparing it to studies made on normal behavior?
It is. In fact, good mental health is defined by specific characteristics that abnormality is compared to for diagnosis. Normal behavior is said to stem from several characteristics, including an accurate perception of reality, self-awareness, and knowledge of one's emotions and motives, and the confidence to exert self-control. But isn't it possible for this approach to run into problems too? Yes, in some ways. That's why it's so hard to find a completely satisfactory definition of abnormality. But it is possible to combine the different elements of the approaches we just talked about in order to reach more accurate definitions.
Okay, guys, did you take some notes?
Yes.
What about the rest?
Yep.
Yes, teacher.
Okay, let's see the questions now, okay? Is everybody ready?
Yep.
Yes, I'm ready, teacher.
Yes.
Okay, let's see. Okay, this is question number 1, please. You will have 1 minute to answer this question, okay? In this part, you were supposed to pay attention to the topic. What is the topic?
Option A.
Okay. Please have at hand your answer sheet, okay? A piece of paper so you can write your answers. But as your partner said, what is the best option, at least for you? Okay, only one person answered. What about the rest? Option A, according to your partner. Is it okay? Or maybe another other person has a different perspective?
I think is B.
Okay, another person says it is letter B. What about the rest? Only 2 people have participated.
I think it's
A.
A.
Okay, 2 votes for letter A. What about the rest?
I think it's B.
Okay, letter B.
I think it's A, teacher.
Okay, 3 against 2.
For me, it's A also.
Okay, I think A has won the election, so let's see. We'll see the answer at the end, okay? Letter B was the correct one. Okay, so the one who said that letter B was the appropriate answer did a good job. Okay, what was the topic of the lecture? Approaches to defining a key term in a branch of psychology. Okay, normal and abnormal behavior. Okay, yes, these aspects were mentioned in the recording, but the main topic was defining a key term in a branch of psychology. Okay, guys, so be careful with that. Let's move on to the next question. Okay, you have 1 minute to answer this, and after that, we're going to make a vote, okay? Read the question, answer, and then provide your opinion. Okay, guys. Which option do you think is the best? What is the female student's initial opinion of attempts to define abnormality? Any opinion? What is your answer? Tell me.
I think it's option A.
Okay, one vote for option A. What about the rest?
I think it's A too.
Okay, 2 votes for letter A.
Option B.
Okay, 1 vote for option B. What about the rest? Guys, I am waiting. 2 votes for letter A and 1 option for letter B. What about the rest?
C, teacher.
Letter C?
Yes.
Okay. At the moment, A is winning. Any other opinion?
For me, letter B.
Mariana, please, you can go on, and then we're going to continue with math.
For me, it's letter B.
Okay. Letter B, 2 for 2 and 2 for letter A and B, and 1 for letter C. What about the other person who was trying to speak?
I think is D.
Okay, B is winning now. I think everybody has answered. So let's see if letter B is the correct one. No. The ones who voted for letter A were true. What is the female student's initial opinion of attempts to define abnormality? The answer was, she thinks there is a danger the definition will be founded on potentially prejudiced views. Okay? What was the option that was incorrect? She thinks it is not possible to explain the concept of normality using a single definition. Okay, so in this question, you were supposed to find some details, okay, about the student's point of view. That's it, okay? Congratulations to the ones who voted for letter A. That was the answer. Let's move on. Next question. I'm gonna read the question for you. Why does the professor mention cultural and historical factors? Let's answer the question, and then I'm going to ask you for your opinion, okay? Okay, guys, time's up. Let's see. Please, Amilcar, what do you think?
I think it's option D.
Okay. What about you, Christian? Are you there? Okay, I think Christian is not there. Genaro, what about you?
Option D.
Okay, two votes for letter D. Mariana, what about you?
For me, it's letter D.
Letter D as well. Okay, 3 votes for letter D. Let's move on to I cannot see the name here, sorry. Okay, Maria Acho, please. What do you think?
Option D.
Okay, 4 votes. What about the last one? Medina Celi. Okay, let me see.
I think it's
Torres,
option
Ruben?
D.
Okay, I
option
think
D.
everybody agreed on this. Letter D is the answer. Let's see. Excellent job, guys. Why does the professor mention cultural and historical factors? To show that the definition of normality sometimes depends on context and interpretation. Okay, guys, good job. Let's move on to the next question, please. Okay, I'm gonna read the question for you. According to the professor, what is the problem with defining abnormality in terms of social norms? 1 minute to answer, and then we're going to vote. Okay, guys, please, let's see. Amilcar, what do you think?
I think it's option C.
Okay, option D, option C. 1 vote for option C. Christian, are you there? Okay, I think he's not there. Okay, Genaro.
I'm not sure about this one, but I go with B.
Okay, letter B or D?
B.
Okay, 1 vote for B and 1 vote for C. Mariana, please.
I think, I'm not sure, teacher, sorry.
Okay, but what do you think?
But
You
I
have to
think
answer.
that it's letter B, but I'm not sure.
Okay, 2 votes for letter B and 1 vote for letter C. Mario Acho, please.
Option B.
Okay. 3 votes for letter B and 1 vote for letter C. Finally, Medina Sali Torres.
I think it's letter C, teacher.
Okay. 3 votes for letter B and 2 votes for letter D. So, letter B has won. Let's see if it is the correct one. Okay, everybody has failed this question. The correct answer was letter A, okay? Let's see the question, okay? According to the professor, what is the problem with defining abnormality in terms of social norms? As I told you, you have to find keywords. What were the keywords in this question? Abnormality and social norms, okay? The prevailing social and moral views of society will define culturally undesired activity as psychologically abnormal, okay? So be careful with that, okay, guys? You have to pay attention to the keywords. As I told you, what do you have to find in this lecture? The topic, it is really important. The organization, how is the lecture organized? Information, detailed information, okay? You can write your notes like, I don't know, what does the professor say at the beginning? What does the professor say in the middle? And what does the professor say at the end? In that way, you are going to organize the ideas that you listened. And it will be easier for you to answer these kind of questions, okay, guys? So please I would suggest you take more notes, okay? Short sentences, only keywords. That's the idea, okay, guys? Is it clear?
Yes, it is.
What about the rest?
Yes, teacher.
Everything is clear.
Okay, guys, I hope you understood, okay? So, what do you have to take into account with this? When dealing with conversations, you have to find the problem, the solutions or the suggestions, and some details. That's it. What about lectures? You have to find the topic, how is the lecture organized, and some extra information. You have to organize also what you write. Okay, guys? That's the idea with this kind of questions from the listening section of the TOEFL test. Okay, guys? On Friday, we're going to practice a little bit more with this kind of exercises, okay? So consider taking these suggestions into account so that you can improve your scores on Friday. Okay, guys?
Okay.
Great, teacher. Thank you.
Okay. So we're going to stop here then. As always, I really appreciate you complete this daily survey. And after that, you can leave the session. Thank you for attending. Thank you for participating and see you on Friday, okay? Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye, teacher.
Bye, teacher.
Bye-bye. Take care.
Goodbye, teacher.
Bye, bye-bye.
Bye, teacher.
Bye-bye.